And welcome everybody to the Proper Tarot School of Divination sampler class. And I am so excited. We've got folks from all over the world here. Even Shad. Oh my goodness. I just noticed you're there. Shad's in South Korea. Rowan out of Scotland. I'm looking here. Eva in my favorite place of the whole world, right outside Stonehenge, and Glastonbury. Let's see here. Julie from the UK. My goodness, everywhere. Hava, usually in Mexico City, but other places. Christine from Belgium. Most of you guys from here in the US. So all different time zones. Welcome. We've got a special sampler class for you today. For those of you who I have not met before formally, I'm Scott Grossberg, and I'm the facilitator for today, and we have a special guest. Before I introduce him, I would like to make sure that we're all on the same page together. So you're on Zoom. I recommend that while we're having probably you on gallery view right now, which is where I'm going to keep it, I recommend that you move to speaker view so that you can get up close and personal with Jason when he does his thing. And then when people chat, they'll pop in and out. The other thing is, I would love to see that you're able to use the reactions on this. So if you look down at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you'll see a little button that says reactions. And I would love it if you guys would just raise your hands so I can make sure this is all working. Cool, Malcolm, I see that. No, not your real hand, Bev, the little button on the
right? It's like, hey.
Good. Shad got it. Christine got it. Rowan got it. Ruben got it. Perfect. And then just give me a little wave so you can make sure you're hearing me. And now I'm going to stop being obnoxious, and you can lower your hands because now we have massive interaction on a really high level. Okay. Today, I am so excited. And I'm just going to take a quick digression back and let you know that our speaker today, our teacher today, our wizard druid folk, he and I actually first connected when I was supposed to be on a radio show, and Jason was guest hosting the radio show because the host was otherwise occupied. I'm not even sure what happened. And Jason and I simply hit it off. And so we've been friends ever since. And many of you know, a while ago, I wrote a booklet called The 7 Keys. And I've always been interested in skeleton keys, and then shock of all shocks, right? Synchronicity doing its thing. Jason was telling me about his skeleton key readings, and here we are. And I think you're going to really love him. I'm going to read you a quick little bio that I pulled off of his site, and so that you get some background of who you're actually getting to learn from today. Born into a family of psychics and ministers, Jason McKean is a professional tarot card reader and offers intuitive counseling using the Wizard Tarot deck. He has read for thousands of people and teaches the tarot to students, both online and when we reopen live. His weekly radio show, Wizard Talk, discusses the tarot and highlights a different guest intent on manifesting their goals in the world. Jason is a registered member of the International Hypnosis Federation, and he conducts both group and individual past life regressions. And on top of that, he's also an ordained minister through Universal Life Church. And I've got a joke about it. Jason and I are about the same age, I think. I am also an ordained minister through the Universal Life Church, and I think it was almost mandatory when I was going through my philosophy degree in college that you had to, back then, do it by mail. We didn't have the internet. I'm that old. And so, Brother Jason, nice to see you. Before I have you take it away, I do want to let everybody know that if you want to learn more about Jason, please go to his website, Jason D, it's the middle initial, D as in David, Jason D. McKean, and it's MCKEAN.com, jasondmckean.com. Sign up for his radio show, subscribe, share, like. He is a marvelous individual, and my only regret of doing this on Zoom is you can't actually see how long his beard is. And
I'll do a preview of it.
There you go.
There, it's
we're talking like true wizard whiskers. Jason, welcome.
Thank you so much, Scott. It's just like such a great honor to be a part of the proper tarot school of divination. And you know, this is like you say we're about the same age. I claim to be about 300. And so if you're willing to go that far, you know, then that's cool with me.
I'll go that far with you, buddy.
All right. Thank you everyone for coming in today. And you know, I love the skeleton keys, and I have always loved the skeleton keys. I think I had a past life as either, you know, someone who was like a cleric, or you know, had some like just really, you know, great, like, you know, just ornate kind of keys like this. This is my Saint Benedict's key. Like I must have been a priest or something, where it was the sacred key, and that was like for this really great lock that opened up the treasures there of the universe. Or I was just a jailer, you know, someone who just had a lot of keys. And you know, that this is my pride and my joy. This key here, it's like it's kind of a half key, but it's metal, and it's I call it the key of power. It's like Excalibur, the key of power. And it's like if I do live events and all, it's like if we take a group photo, then there's a chosen person who gets to hold the key of power, and get to you know, be able to just feel the magnificence of that big skeleton key. So what
I keep thinking, Jason, when you talk about this, and I won't interrupt anymore after this, but I keep thinking of the key maker in the Matrix whenever you bring out these things. So we're all yours. By the way, one quick last logistic things. If you guys have questions, again, you can either raise your hand, but more suitable for what we're doing here, post something in the chat room. I will monitor that so Jason doesn't have to take time away from his presentation. And then either Jason can answer it during the class, or we'll do a little quick Q&A at the end and get your questions answered. So I'm sorry, Jason, go for it.
Thank you, Scott. So, you know, with all divination, you know, there's the common threads that run through all of them, whether it's tarot, whether it's palm reading, or palmistry, you know, astrology, you know, reading the skeleton keys. There's this common thread of wisdom that goes through all of these things. And what I like to focus on when I'm reading tarot, when I'm reading the keys, is the flow of energy, and to see where a person is at within their own, like their basis of desire, or they're creating this spark of looking to manifest something. And you know, I like to look to see if a person's energy is in a nice place of flow, or if they're blocking themselves, because people can, you know, they can get excited about something, and then, you know, it's within them, it's a passion, it's burning, and then they get into their head about something, and it's like, oh, you know, I don't know if I want to do it that way, and, you know, they'll start talking themselves out of it. Or they may just say, yeah, that's the plan, I'm going to do that, and then they put it out there, and you know, they activate it, they put it out there in the world. And, you know, I like to start with those simple ingredients of where one is an energetic being, a spiritual being, but they're looking to live in the world and to fulfill themselves in the world. And I feel that the tarot, that um, has a wide spectrum of the energies at play, to see if someone is in a place of joy, if they're in a place of suffering, if they're in these places in between, but where, they can move through energy. Energy needs to keep moving. When it stops, when it stagnates, we're in a world of hurt. And as readers, it's like, uh, you know, a querent doesn't come to us if everything is going great in their life. They're like, it's far from that. Usually it's, uh, it's like, help me, help, I need help. And so, the divination system that is able to look at everything, where it's not just unicorns and rainbows that we're looking at, but it shows like the hardships, and again, these areas that can, be really helpful to us, to get us moving again. And so with the skeleton keys, I broke it down into 8 topics, or 8 themes. And with strength, balance, wisdom, pleasure, creativity, renewal, manifestation, and community. And to try to cover all the bases, and to not just focus it into uh, a physical level, or where it manifests just on a physical space, or a mental space, a spiritual space, an emotional space, but to find the ones that can be universal in that. And so, something like renewal, like this key here, and it's like, how did I come to choose this key, and is this really a key, or is this a bottle opener? It's like the foot on here, it looks like it's a bottle opener. I use my beard as a background because it's a nice, good clear space. um, it is actually a bottle opener that was given to me by my sister, who was going through cancer, and she was a bartender, and she went through a stage 4 cancer, and it became this symbol of her uh, being able to go into a place of healing and remission, and then look to change things up for herself, so that she was not just diving back into the same routines, the same way of living life, but just changing it up. And 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 so that aspect of renewal, of where one is uh, making a conscious choice to graduate within themselves. And so this has particular meaning to me. All of the keys do. All of the keys that I chose, they have a particular energy to them. I've used them in some way, or they have come to me in a certain way, that they represent what it is that uh, they're they're they are thematically representing. So, you know, uh, we are all welcome to create our own systems. Scott would be the first one to say, yeah, because I've done that. It's like, and that's, I think that's like, we can personalize these other ways of reading, along with what we already know, and incorporate, the wisdom from some of the more traditional divination systems, but to create our own, and to, I really encourage that, because it deepens our own relationship to spirit, to our intuition, to why it is that we are an individual reader, our calling, So to get back to the renewal key, it's like, do I associate tarot cards too to these themes? Sometimes it can be helpful, when one is in a reading with someone, and they're looking to hone in their intuition about where someone is going through a process. And I was doing a reading the other day, and it came up, the person had a specific question, and that idea of a renewal came up. And it's like, sometimes to get one started, to get the juices flowing, a tarot card can pop up, and I associate, like the renewal aspects with, like, um with just judgment. Almost said justice, but it's judgment. And because of the aspects of uh graduation, or rising up to a new calling. Gabriel's trumpet there is calling these individuals to a new life. And it's like, one can feel like they've outgrown their current state, and they're like wanting to rise up. And so that aspect of you know talking about that, opening up that exploration for your querent, so that they are seeing themselves in their own process, then that's like, it, a powerful way of showing what's going on with someone. Another card that I will associate like renewal with is the Ace of Swords, because I see the Ace of Swords as a mindset, as an identity, and where one looks to kind of start new, start fresh with another way of looking at themselves and speaking of themselves, and uh, you know how it is that they're going to move forward in a way that is healing and helpful, and all of these things. So every key that I have, again, has a manner in which it relates to the theme, and they cover the the like the parts of, like for instance, right? It's like, I just pulled this card, the Wisdom Key, and I love this key because it's one that I found in a store that wasn't selling keys. It's a something that's created by a religious organization, and it has like a Bible verse, like a not the verse itself, but the how to find that verse. And it's about how, if one is like, the verse relates to how one can be in their strongest voice when they're talking about their relationship to God, to their spiritual life. And instead of like taking it so literally, I look at it as a way of being like when one has the opportunity to stand in their own truth, and as uh, a reader of certain divinations, where one is just stands in that truth, and doesn't shy away from who it is that they need to be in that moment. And and so it becomes like this powerful symbol. And this key found me. It was like kind of on a shelf, and I went up to the cashier, and it's like, oh, I'd like to buy this. And it's like, we don't sell this. It's like, you can just have it. And it's like, of course. so so I again, and you know, if I associate like tarot cards with the wisdom key, you know, that's like the world comes up, the card of like the completion, where a cycle has ended. And you know, I always feel that people, when they complete a task, they can just like rinse and repeat. They can just like go about their same patterns. They don't necessarily have to you know, see things in it from a different perspective. And a lot of people don't. That's I think we all can relate to that. You know, it's like they just like keep going forward, and don't even like think about their process. But wisdom is being able to you know, take a look at all of our experiences and kind of take a step back, and to see our part. You know, it's like, did we do things in a you know, a good manner, a productive manner? How can I change things up? um you know, was there like painful lessons in this? And wisdom is being able to integrate those experiences, and come at it from a higher perspective. And you know, it's like, if one is having uh, uh like issues in their life, a situation that just kind of keeps reoccurring, right? It's like, you know, this key may come up in their reading, and it's like it's a perfect opportunity to it's funny, I want to use the word challenge someone, you know, on their patterns. You know, if they're you know, looking to just do things in the same manner, or if they're looking to change them up. And I think that um you know, when one goes about it in a reading situation, as opposed to like a therapy session, you know, it can be there's a lightness. There can be that lightness where it's like, oh, it's fun. You know, we're doing key readings, we're doing tarot, we're doing palmistry. You know, it's fun, and people can kind of let their guard down, you know, a little bit more, and find the essence, of that which can be true, of you know, anything that uh, you know, starts to open up to them as their truth, and maybe start to, you know, take that step back and say, oh, okay, I see what I'm doing here. So this is like really good. You know, at this point, are there any questions about anything that I'm talking about? Any need for clarification at this point?
Jason, I'm going to actually ask a question in advance of everybody else. And I wonder if you noticed, like I do when I use skeleton keys, and Bev actually posted a picture of all the keys that she's assembled, everything from the Tim Holtz word keys to some other ones. Um, do, do you find that people just have this visceral, it's almost an unknowing attraction? They just want to touch the keys. They want it's I don't know what the correct word is, but it's so different than the tarot or palmistry or numerology, where it can be very ambiguous, where these keys, as you say, actually reach out to the person who's looking at them and says, just pick me, just touch me, hold me.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And if you're that reader who's like, you know, don't touch my cards, don't touch my keys, don't do that,
Yeah.
then that's going to be a problem. You know, because they are like, you know, something that you know, people want to hold, and they want to connect with the energy of that, and that's it's actually like a good way, you know, because it's with the tarot, you know, it's like one just spreads the cards out, you know, face down, and you know, either the querent or the reader can pull cards. It's a there's a more of a kind of an unknown process unless you close your eyes. You can always lay the keys out and then just have someone close their eyes and grab one, or they can go towards the one that they're drawn to.
Cool.
And that any way of that works.
Yeah, Bev, you have your hand up. Go ahead and unmute yourself. And Jason, meet Bev. Bev, meet Jason.
Hey,
Hi,
Jason.
Bev.
Hey, I'm really enjoying this. Thank you. I have a question for you. I'm always interested in the history of divinations as well. I understand you were drawn to this, but have you heard of other people divining with keys? And if so, how far back or what is the history of that, if any?
Well, Scott Grossberg is a diviner of the keys.
And I appreciate you saying that. Bev, the furthest back I've been able to go actually is not the way that Jason and I read keys. And Jason and I actually read keys completely differently. And Jason, I'm assuming, might touch on how he does it, because it's, as he's going through, very thematic. Whereas with me, it's much similar to bone casting and the sortilege, where you shake them up and throw them down and look for things, patterns like that, as you would with tea leaf reading or coffee grind reading, or again, bones and things like that. However, the oldest that I've been able to go back to, particularly with skeleton keys, is where they used to, in communities, do two things with them. One, they would take the skeleton key, place it in a Bible, bind the Bible so that the skeleton key was hanging inside it, and then they could actually balance the key between their fingers, and it would swing much like a pendulum does. And so the key was always associated with wisdom. And then obviously taking the key, much like I do, I always carry a skeleton key with me. Jason and I are quite alike when we say you should always carry a skeleton key with you. There aren't many shoulds in our lives, but you should always carry a skeleton key with you.
Right.
And, it's on a chain and can be used as an instant pendulum whenever you want to use that kind of binary coding for what you're doing. So that's the oldest. Other than that, Bev, I know of nobody who's doing what Jason is doing or what I'm doing. Again, two different approaches to using skeleton keys, but the two of us have individually essentially come up with these themes that apply to every characteristic of human endeavor.
Yeah, and it looks like Scott, like you'll when you toss the keys, or when they're put onto the Vitruvian square, that how they fall, the positions, that's something. Where they fall on the square, that's something. I mean, the way that I do it is a little bit more like the tarot, in that one is choosing them, and then it's again that energy of the key, and the way that um the course of the exploration of the situation that someone is going through, and all. It's like on my Instagram live, there was a woman who was asking about her ability to conceive and all, a child, and what came up was the strength key. This key, and it's the exploration of it became not just about the physical stamina and strength, like supporting the reproductive system, her reproductive system, but just the going through the hard experiences of it, that strengthening of mind and emotion, and so the value in it was creating a place where she was not blocked up in just continuing.
Yeah. Julie, you had your hand up. Did you have a question? Julie from London.
Hi, I'm not in London. I'm in Stafford, but same
Oh.
island.
Well,
Hi,
even
Julie.
better.
Hi. No, I just wondered what defines a skeleton key, because I'd always thought it was another name for a sort of burglar's lockpick, which these aren't, are they?
No. No, these are not like lock picks. It's like a skeleton key, and is there a certain time when, uh, like the modern day key just kind of like took place? Yeah, I think the nature of the lock changed, and so they started making them different. But like the skeleton key that has the foot and the head and the stem, they're they have a certain most of them have this long elongated uh like body or stem to them, and and it is the nature of the actual lock, like the mechanics of it, that that certain foot is going to open it. And
Julie, quick question for you. How far away do you live from London?
About 3 hours by train.
All right.
4 hours by train.
If you ever visit, and I'm sure there are other places, but I can tell you some of my favorite skeleton keys were found on Portobello Road when they're doing the street market. And most of these vendors, because they're dealing in antiques and vintage items, they all have skeleton keys.
Well,
And
I've got a lot of these sorts.
oh my goodness, there you go.
Are they the fellows?
I like you, Julie, a lot.
I love these. We've got a whole box of them. That belong to doors in the family that we just inherited. The doors have long since gone, and
yeah, who needs the locks? For me, the key, the skeleton key, it represents the way that we unlock our potential. It's a representation of kind of the greater idea of, it's like we all have a potential within us to rise up to our greatest purpose. And a lot of what we do in life is looking to clear the path towards that, is unlock the that potential. And so anything that allows us to do that, to be able to focus on that is that's helpful for us.
Anneke, you have your hand up, but I don't know if you just raised it because I asked you to, or if you have a question.
Hi, Anneke.
You just had it up. Okay.
Anneke is from Holland.
Well, welcome. Nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us. Any other questions before Jason moves on? Okay, Jason, quick question for you, and then maybe this will segue into where you're going with all this.
Yeah.
Julie's got a box of keys. Rowan has talked about, the collection that he has. I take it from listening to you and from you and I having chatted earlier that you're really letting the keys tell you what they want to say, rather than you artificially saying, okay, I need a strength key, I need a balance key, I need a wisdom key. You're letting the key talk to you. Is that about right?
Yeah. And it's akin to like a divination like tarot or the runes, where there's that blind opening. There's the chance factor, which, it's like any of us who have done this long enough, it's like we know that chance, coincidence is not a thing. That and we get that, like if we're reading tarot and it's like, we're wanting everything to just go smooth and all that, and then we get like these dicey, the hard cards that come up, and it's like, oh crap, it's like, what am I going to say about this? Yeah. And it like, because because the tarot has its say, because the keys, you know, they have their say, it allows for a deepening. It allows for this environment of where we can look at, you know, something that can be a little bit you know, more prickly to examine and to talk about and to look towards healing that. So it's that blind process, because you know, it's like the reader, you know, is not perfect, and sometimes it's like, you know, we can like want what we want, and because we don't have that choice all the time, it's like it's a perfect system in that, because we don't just you know, get lazy, or you know, just too, you know, wanting to control things a certain way.
Wonderful. All right, I'm going to turn it back to you, Jason. I don't know. We've got, you know, another 10, 15 minutes maybe. So again, if anybody has questions, post them in the chat room. We'll get to them. And Jason, if you do get a chance, I'd love for you to maybe explain how you're doing a reading when you use your keys too, before we end here.
Right. Well, as far as you know, one, but you know, by setting up the system, that's a lot of the like the preparation, or the legwork, right? It's like, you know, if you buy a set of tarot cards, it's like, you know, you could look at the booklet and say, oh, you know, there's like a lot of definitions already with this. You know, if someone is reading with crystals, you know, I've had crystal readings before. You know, there's a lot of like accepted um, definitions, or you know, representations with the crystals. If you get like amethyst, it's like, oh, that's healing, you know, you know, that kind of thing. But with this, when you know, look to create your own divination system, it's like, you know, making sure that your bases are covered, making sure that you're, again, looking at the full spectrum of what someone is going to feel, what they're going to go through, and make sure that you're covering that, and that there's room to expand within that. And so, you know, when I'm reading someone, it's you're not just, you know, looking at that theme. That's a springboard. That's the starting point. But the intuition then kicks in, and you start to connect with that querent, that person's energy. And so, you know, intuition is a huge part of it, as it is with every divination system. You know, there are some that are, you know, look to um, you know, mechanize, or you know, cover like just everything. But it's like, you know, each one goes according to their gifts too. You know, is this system, is it for everyone? um I think that each and every one of us could be able to, you know, take the basics of that, and if you have like a uh you know, again, something that you like, you know, if it's not skeleton keys, if it's teacups, or you know, just some other um objects that you resonate with and that you have an affinity for, then you know, you can utilize those. And again, one looks to cover the wide spectrum of experience, so that you're not just uh you know, trying to keep things in a, you know, such a like a positive manner. I guess, you know, sometimes I have difficulty with some decks, like oracle decks, or you know, something that's a little too fluffy, a little too positive, that doesn't like get to the
down and dirty
bones.
stuff.
Yeah. And you know, I think that the skeleton keys that, you know, like with community, right? This card, this key of community. You know, it's about the relationships that we have with others, and you know, not everyone is a sociable person. You know, not everyone goes out into groups and is like, hey, you know, I like people. You know, this last year has been kind of a, a weird time for that anyway. But in, you know, past times, in normal times, you know, it's like a perfect example is like someone who's invited to a party where they don't know anyone, and you know, do you show up and say, hey, I'm here? You know, it's like the party's arrived. Or is it like, oh God, I don't know anybody, I'm just gonna like go off and, you know, hang out in my own corner and all. But you know, how one shows up, how one moves forward, you know, that's where, again, the exploration of that, and where, you know, by uh by means of that exploration, of talking about it, thinking about it, of where the reader, they set this sacred space for one to examine their life in a meaningful way, and where the reader is without judgment. You know, it's like the reader's not like saying, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. You know, it's like, let's look to see, you know, what your relationship is to, you know, the people around you. You know, do you feel supported by them? Do you feel like you're a loner? You know, is there just however it ends up, you know? And you know, that process is one of diving in, you know, deep with intuition, and you know, that's where your own relationship with spirit, you know, is at its peak, or
Yeah,
is at its
Jason,
strongest.
Eunice has a question here, and it was very similar, Eunice, by the way, thank you for asking, to something I was going to ask Jason as well. So here's Eunice's question. How do the keys feel about being used in this form? And is there a feeling or an overall guide that they follow when they're being called upon to speak?
You know, that is an excellent question, because I resist calling like the tarot or the keys tools. You know, I resist thinking of them as something that I use. I like to think of them as you know, being in relationship with them. Like the tarot has its say. You know, if anyone has you know, asked a question over and over and over of the tarot, it's like, well, what does my partner really think of me? Well, how about now? You know, and then you know, it starts giving you like the 10 of swords or something. It's just like starts smacking your hands. It's like the 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 you know, these partnerships that we create with you know, the cards, with the you know, anything that we are in relationship with, it's important to to be in this place of respect for it, and you know, to see that they have a voice, and you know, that's why, you know, one doesn't you know, just use any of these things frivolously. So
So that brings up Den's question. And Den, I understand that you wanted to see a sample reading with multiple keys. It goes a little beyond what we were going to do today with a sampler, but I think, Jason, because the time has gone really quickly, I think it's important to distinguish that you're not doing what I do. I'm casting keys.
Yep.
Where you are, and I'm going to use the word dancing with them. It's a collaboration, and it becomes a very synchronistic way of using them. And maybe, again, you could briefly just kind of recap if I come to you, let's just say on Zoom, and I asked you for a reading, where does someone begin using skeleton key reading? You're the reader. What would you say to them? How do you do this?
So I'm just going to tell you that this wizard is not a dancer. I don't dance. But it's like what I will do is I will pull a key, just to like kind of start the reading. There will be a one key that's pulled just kind of as a general, just an umbrella energy, and then from that, it like sets a stage, and then one can ask questions. We can look at like specific areas of life, and again, what opens up is I'm just seeing Rowan's thing about doing
it's
a
Rowan.
moonwalk. Rowan. It's like being able to just open it up. It is like an extensive reading. It can take like a good hour or so, and it's sometimes the same keys will show up, sometimes different keys will show up for different areas of life, and how to kind of navigate these areas within these themes. And again, these themes are a springboard, and there's a lot of like discussion that takes place in it. So it is a unique process for sure, and it's can be difficult sometimes with a group setting to show. But it's like if we look at a group energy, just really quickly, it's like the pleasure key shows up, and this is like like a reminder of how to activate our own sense of joy, where we're looking to um be in a place of in every, for instance, where we're able to bring light to a situation. It doesn't mean that we have to just kind of just laugh at everything that's going on, but to find that balance, and especially in hard times, um, where we don't just spiral down into a negative well, but we look to buoy our own spirit, and to find those things, that can just be individual things, that where it's just we give ourselves a lift, we give ourselves a little boost, um, and and where we have to sometimes look for that. We sometimes have to like kind of push ourselves in that direction to make sure that we're not getting too heavy, or kind of wallowing in something too deep.
I've got to interrupt here and tell you that the
Yeah.
comments in the chat room have been marvelous. People have obviously raved about what you've been sharing here today. And I'm going to, before we get to Rowan's question and Shad's question, tell you that Joshua probably put it best: to think that if it weren't for the pandemic, such moments might not have occurred. And it's a marvelous thing when you realize here we are from all over the world, all different time zones. I like to joke, Shad is actually coming to us from the future. It's tomorrow for him. And
what's it like? Do we have flying cars yet?
Exactly. And so it's an inside joke that Shad and I have all the time, that I know when Shad is on one of these shows, it's a good day because tomorrow is still coming. But I just, with people coming and going during the show, Jason, I really want to thank you for doing this, because you are such a gentle, wise spirit and soul, and you and I hit it off right away. And I really appreciate you sharing what you've done so far. So if you don't mind, and I know it may not have been where you ultimately were going, do you mind answering a few more questions?
No, please.
So Shad wrote, are the keys used exclusively for readings or as a supplement to another oracle?
Um, it really depends, because I think when I first created them, they were kind of like a supplement, so that one could say, oh yeah, I do these 5D readings, where it's like I've got 3 tarot decks and the skeleton keys and something else, um, but they have their own place, and because a lot of people, they do have an attraction to the skeleton keys. They feel like it's a connection to the past,
Yep.
like a past part of themselves too. And and so they do have this ability to help move someone forward. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about anyway. Whether it's the tarot or astrology or palmistry or whatever, it's about that which acts as a catalyst to help us move through a situation.
And I'm going to go one step further, a little bit beyond what the scope of today's class is, but from a branding, marketing, and promoting standpoint, from a pure business perspective, where all of us are out there, and the question is, what are you doing that's new, different, or better? Not as a judgmental way, but what are you doing new, different, or better? I can nearly guarantee you that when we reopen, we go into the recovery phase, and you're doing the live psychic fairs again, or the live presentations, or the live events, nobody else is going to be doing skeleton key readings. And I've gotten a lot of feedback, about 10 years ago when I came out with my booklet on skeleton key reading.
Mm-hmm.
The psychic readers, the psychic entertainment folks, the bizarrists, the tarot readers themselves, who added this to their I know Jason doesn't like the word toolkit, but their arsenal.
Arsenal sounds like, I've got machine guns and stuff,
Well,
like...
I call them dance partners, but you don't like dancing.
Nope.
So, it is whatever it is that you're doing, bear in mind, provided that you've aligned yourself with the reading system, and that's what Jason's been telling you, get aligned with it, get to know it, talk to them. I've told folks before, particularly with the deck of shadows, sleep with your deck under your pillow. You'll get to know it better than you would in any other way. Sleep with your keys under your pillow. Don't roll over on them, they hurt. But the reality is, it's going to be something new and different that most folks are, and they're instantly attracted to it. Rowan asked the question, what are your thoughts on, only Rowan would ask this, what are your thoughts on grabbing a load of blanks from a keysmith and making your own set with a Dremel or something? I would think that may be a really nice way to connect and create the spirit of the keys, intent for each one as you make it. It's fascinating because now, Rowan, you got my head thinking.
Yeah, I mean, about how one builds intention into their own, set of keys, rather than something having like a purpose beforehand. Like this key of the community that I have, it was an actual hotel key of an old hotel in San Diego. And so it has a history already to it. And so, associating it to the community is like it fits, but if you're, creating something fresh, then absolutely. And again, it's like you're doing a lot of that pre uh um what's the word, not, well, it's kind of like doing all the legwork, by doing the intention, building all of what it's going to mean to you. And you can absolutely do that. It's creative, it makes it yours.
Yeah, and by the way, I think Jason has just underscored what many of you shared with me when we did our last session together, our last 4-day adventure. Setting intention is what this is all about. you set the intention, and then that brings to the reading the manner or the technique in which it will be carried out, which then leads Jason to Shad's question. And I'm going to do two more just for sake of time. I'm going to do Shad's question, and then James, we'll do yours. Shad asked, do the seekers know what the keys represent before they choose the keys? So Jason, are you telling them this is strength, this is balance, this is wisdom, pleasure, creativity, renewal, manifestation, and community? Or are you letting their intuition and their attraction or the keys calling speak for it?
I am a big fan of, people not knowing exactly what it is that they're looking for in, trying to like pre-decide their reading. So
I agree with you 100%, by the way.
Yeah, it's like a querent telling you, it's like, yeah, I'm here because I'm wanting to be in this relationship with this person, and this is how it's going to turn out. And it's like, well, let's see how it's going to turn out. It's like, let's see what the cards have to say on that. And I think that if the mind, it likes to just have its little control there and do its thing. And it's like, I feel that this process is one of letting go. I feel that the process of divination is to let go of that control of, like, I have to do things a certain way, and this has to be the exact outcome of it. When we get into that realm of spirit that has its say, that looks at all the energetic influences of the universe, and it's like the more that we let go, it's like the more that the magic really happens.
And now you know why I love Jason. Okay, James.
Yes, hi.
Hi, James.
Shad actually asked my question, but
what?
I do have
Shad.
But another one came to mind. You were talking. Jason loved this, by the way. You were talking about the whole idea of the keys and the idea of the theme of unlocking something, unlocking an obstacle or a door. And I was just curious, and you may have said this and I missed it. But if so, forgive me. But is this a theme that you actually discuss in the readings? That do you make it an overt explanation that of the correlation between the keys and the obstacles?
I think that we are the key and the lock. It's like we're given these situations and all to be able to move through them, to kind of see ourself, in action, and to be able to, go to new levels, to, open up these doors so that, the next leg of the journey opens up for us. So yeah, it is a metaphor for, seeing our path open up for us.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, I love it. I love the frame. So I just wanted to ask that, because that whole that ties into, and Scott, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, but
no, you're go for it, James. You're
but
good.
that was just I'm, as Scott knows, I'm big on frames and stuff. So I love setting the frames for a reading, and then letting it go. And the last thing I want to say is that just when I think I have an original thought, I never do. But I'm working on some people have asked me to put together something. I'm working on a project for a type of reading that I do. And one of the things that Scott has talked about, which I love because I've never heard anybody else really talk about it. And then you just said it earlier about, it's not always, it's not the unicorns, not everything's unicorns and rainbows, right? And something that I actually have on the foreword of this thing that I'm writing. So it's a quote, it's a line from a song by Maroon 5, and there's a song called She Will Be Loved. And I say this in my readings all the time. The line says, it's not always rainbows and butterflies, it's compromise that moves us along. And it's a great line, because not everything is, and I think that's an important thing to the theme with the type of readings you do is you're unlocking these obstacles. Not everything's horrible either. It's just you have to understand that there's these obstacles and there's ways to get through them, and the whole idea of the lock and key is just beautiful. So thank you. Thanks.
Wonderful.
Thank you, James. Yeah, that is wonderful. And you know, it's like having the framework too, having a framework within, you know, your own divination system is, you know, it's like it allows for you to fill it in as you go forward.
Yeah, I'm going to, again, for sake of time and everybody's heartbeats that you're spending here, I want to thank everybody for joining us from all over the world. And I trust at the very least, you know, there's some things that Jason said has nothing to do with the technique of readings. But Jason, I want to thank you because your two concepts that really touched me this morning, at least it's morning for you and me, that touched me was the fact that we are opening doors and that we are letting go. And what beautiful ways of looking at a reading to also, for those of us doing the reading, create the sacred space with those intentions in mind. It's not a control thing. It really is all of that. Before we're done here, and Jason, I'll give you a final word, but before we're done here, I want to toot Jason's horn a bit. If you have not already looked it up, please take a look at jasondmckean.com. It's Jason, D as in David, McKean, McKean as in Nancy.com. And among other things, take a look at all the records, the recordings that Jason has done. And I haven't looked at the stats lately, but if I recall looking back on this, it's very impressive what Jason has put together as far as his Om chants and meditation. Again, also he's got a radio show, and I could go on and on. Just go follow him. You know, check out his podcast, listen to him.
I like that.
And I don't know about the rest of you, but listening to Jason's voice instantly is calming for me. He's just got one of those voices that resonates and takes you deeper, whether you want to or not. So, Jason, I want to personally thank you for being part of this. And is there anything that you want to add that we haven't covered in the short amount of time that has sped by?
Well, thank you, Scott. I mean, I totally appreciate you and your wisdom and your ability to bring people together, your desire to bring people together from all over the world. That's amazing. And thank everyone here for you know, just taking an hour out of their day. And I hope this has been of service.
Oh, wonderful. So here's what's going to happen, folks, logistically. I'm going to take this. I'm going to do some post editing. It'll take me a little while. And then I'll stick a replay up in the live section for our group only, as a thank you for all of you for being part of this. And you can reach Jason and reach out to him through his website, or you can post questions and comments in our private Facebook group, because Jason's part of it. And with that, again, Jason, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And for the rest of you, I appreciate you being here. And I look forward to seeing you for our next class. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you.